everyone, it's Eleanor again, and this is my TBR for the Dewey's 24-hour readathon. You might notice it's a different filming location because I now have more flexibility because I picked up after work yesterday a mount for my tripod which will hold my iPhone, so I no longer have to sit in one place. So that behind me is my non-fiction shelf, not non-fiction bookcase. Yeah, so anyway, why I'm here. TBR for the Dewey's 24-hour readathon. This readathon I did earlier in April. They run it twice a year, in April and October, and it starts simultaneously around the world, which I really like. And I find it's an intense period of reading, and basically you just read however much you can in that 24-hour period, which for me, I tend to, apart from sleeping, read the entire time because I live alone. I can do that. So it's really intense and quite exhausting, but really enjoyable, especially because on social media, everyone actually encourages each other on Twitter and Goodreads and Facebook and all the various other forms of social media. So I was really excited to do it again. And for me, in Eastern Australia, it starts at 11 p.m. tonight on Saturday the 22nd, but there's a link on their website where you can find out where it starts in your time zone. So yeah, I really enjoy this, and this is my TBR. I won't read all of these books. I tend to overestimate because I like to have variety in a readathon. I like to be able to switch between things. So yeah, so my TBR, I will allow myself to choose anything off my currently reading list if I want to, but the most likely thing I will read is more of Letters to Tiptree. This is edited by Alexandra and Alisa Krasnostein. It's a 12th Planet Press book. And I am 194 pages through. So it's about halfway through, I think. And so it was published last year to celebrate what would have been James Tiptree Jr. / Alice Sheldon's 100th birthday, and the first section of it is a whole bunch of people in the SFF community writing letters to Tiptree or Sheldon on a number of topics, on how their work has affected them, on how they've affected the SFF community as a whole, on gender, on identity. So a lot of really interesting letters, some quite short and some, that are a few pages long. So I'm really enjoying it, and I will hopefully get some more progress made on that during the readathon. I've got a lot. I've got like 12 things on my currently reading list on Goodreads right now, and a lot of them are books that require a lot of mental energy, which I probably won't read during the readathon because I find readathons it's best if you're not trying to work too hard, because then you get tired faster. There's a lot of ebooks on my list, and they're mostly short fiction, so I have a whole bunch of remaining issues of Uncanny magazine on my Kindle. I find having short fiction as part of the TBR is really good because you can read it quickly, and it's sort of like a refresher, a breather in between, bigger books. So I'm currently about to start issue 10, I believe. So hopefully I'll at least finish issue 10 during the readathon. And also on my Kindle, I have 2 novellas. So in April is when I read Binti. That was the first thing I read in the April readathon, and that worked really well for me. So I've got 2 novellas on my Kindle that I want to read as part of this readathon, and they are Every Heart a Doorway by Seanan McGuire, which has been on my radar pretty much since before it was published. It's one of the tall novellas, just like Binti, and it is basically, from what I understand, it's a story about a boarding school where the children who have been to Fairyland and come home go because they can't deal with the rest of the world. And apparently there's a bit of a thriller, a bit of mystery, and I love Shannon's work anyway, what I've read of it, so that sounds really interesting. And I also have Poison or Protect by Gail Carriger. She has just started publishing, self-publishing novellas set in her steampunk, supernatural, Victorian universe. I've read all the actual novels. Poison or Protect is the first novella, and it's a romance. I think it's an adult romance, but it deals with one of the characters from the Finishing School series as an adult. So I'm really looking forward to checking that out. So that's my Kindle TBR. I also, in terms of other short fiction, I might have a go at Bounty by Tansy Rayner Roberts. This is the collection of short stories and novellas from the Mocklaw universe that she published recently. So if I want to read short fiction in hard copy form, I will probably have a go at this. So I think there's about 6 stories in this. It's not very long, so hopefully I'll get a chance to have a go at that. I also always have some comics on hand because I find those are also a really good refresher in between longer things, and there's not as many words, and so your brain can have a bit of a rest or just do something different. So this week I picked up volume 1 of the Unbeatable Squirrel Girl. This comic's been on my radar for a while. It sounds fun and maybe a little bit silly because it's a girl with the powers of squirrels. I don't know a lot about it, but it's one of the Marvel superheroes, and I believe that in volume 1, which is by Ryan North and illustrated by Erica Henderson, she's off to college for the first time, so it sounds like fun. So I've got that, and also on my iPad I still have, and it's been sitting on there for a while, the short event comic by Paul Cornell, 4 Doctors. So hopefully I will finally get to that as well. So that was an event that I think it was done last year for Doctor Who Comics Day. But yeah, so it involves 4 Doctors. And it's a Doctor Who comic, obviously. And it's by Paul Cornell, who I like, so that's really good. And speaking of Paul, one of the novels on my TBR is Who Killed Sherlock Holmes by Paul Cornell. This is the 3rd in the Shadow Police novels. I love these novels. But I somehow never read them when they come out because they they're very intense, and they're the kind of novels that I literally cannot put down. I read the second one on a plane to coming back from Perth, actually. Oh, sorry, I'm just dropping things here. And literally, I could not put it down. And it was in the middle of the night and everyone around me was asleep and stuff happened and I wanted to freak out and I couldn't because everyone was asleep and it was the middle of the night and I had no internet. But I really love these novels, and so this is the 3rd book, which I'm really looking forward to. It's urban fantasy and police procedural. So it's about a group of police officers in London who have accidentally been given the ability to see the sort of magical supernatural underbelly of London, and they investigate crimes that involve that supernaturalness because they're the only ones that can see it. And from what I understand, this one, the back says, the great detective's ghost has walked London streets for an age, given shape by people's memories. Now someone's put a ceremonial dagger through his chest, but what's the motive and who or what could kill a ghost? So it's basically a sort of, it seems to be that there's a lot of ghosts in London, and sometimes they're real people and sometimes they are fictional people that have been given life to belief. And so it's all about Sherlock Holmes, which I really like. So I'm really looking forward to picking this up. And another novel that I have on my TBR is The Heart of Brass by Felicity Banks. So this is an Australian novel that I've met Felicity a few times at local conventions, but I've never actually read any of her work. So I picked up her novel this year at Conflux, and I believe it is a steampunk novel set in Australia about a well-bred young lady with secrets who gets exiled to Victoria in the middle of the gold rush, and there are steampunk shenanigans. So sounds really fun, so I might pick that up. And the last book that is on my tentative to reread pile is Equal Rites by Terry Pratchett. This is one of the Discworld novels. I've only read a few Discworld novels. It took me a while. The first few that I read I didn't really like. But once I discovered The Witches, I absolutely love The Witches. I think they're amazing and they're funny. And so this is one of the very early books with the witches in it. And from what I understand, this is where Granny Weatherwax fights the patriarchy. So I understand that there's a 7th child who is bequeathed the wizard's staff for various prophetic reasons. Until no one realises that said 7th child is a girl, and girls can't be wizards. And so Granny Weatherwax takes her under her wing and apparently fights for the right to teach her wizardry instead of witchery. So, you know, it sounds feminist, it's Granny Weatherwax, and Granny Weatherwax is just amazing. So I might pick that up. Also, I haven't made a decision about whether I'll listen to an audiobook or not. Currently I don't, the only one that I have is one that I don't think I want to read just yet because it's the second book of a series, and for some reason there is no audiobook of the first book of the series. So I kind of want to reread the first book first. But it might be if I decide I need to go for a walk or something rather that I need an audiobook, and in that case I will probably, I've been looking at a few, and Tony Robinson has narrated a bunch of the Terry Pratchett Discworld books, and I'm kind of obsessed with Tony Robinson's voice. I have been since I was a child, so that might be a good option if I decide I need an audiobook. So yeah, that's my TBR for the Dewey's 24-hour readathon this October. It will be starting at 11 o'clock tonight. I will probably read for about half an hour tonight and then get some sleep and then get up early in the morning and spend my Sunday reading. So I will definitely do a wrap up probably on Monday because it doesn't finish until Sunday night and I have Monday off work. But yeah, I'll be on Twitter, I'll be on the Facebook group. I might be on the Goodreads group, but I don't really know how Goodreads groups work. So probably mostly Facebook and Twitter if you want to catch up with me, give me some encouragement, or tell me what you're reading for the Dewey's readathon, and how your readathon is going. I'd really like to know. But yeah, I suppose that's my TBR. I probably won't finish everything, but I would like to give it a go. So yeah, good luck everybody who's participating, and I will see you after the readathon and let you know how I went. Bye.